everyone, this is Rabbit's blog of Animation Bliss, and welcome to Nicktoons Month. Now, today's anime discussions for Nicktoons Month is going to be on the 90s Nicktoon versus the 2000s Nicktoon. Now, this is not going to be like a versus battle, like which era of Nicktoons was the best. This is more like a compare and contrast between the two eras, like the differences between the 90s Nicktoon and the 2000s Nicktoons, and how they're compare and contrast each other. And this is just a video, discussing about all of that, like their comparisons and their contrasts, how they contrast from each other. So let's begin. So what were some differences between the 90s Nicktoon and the 2000s Nicktoons? Well, I grew up with the 90s Nicktoons, and I've noticed that a lot of the 90s Nicktoons were more like a slice of life type of storylines. Like a lot of the stories were more like slice of life, and then more hinging on the comedy side. Like you had shows like Hey Arnold, Doug, Rugrats that were more like slice of life type of shows that just explores the characters' lives and how normal or bizarre their lives can get and how they get through it. And then you have shows like The Angry Beavers and Rocko's More Life and Ren and Stimpy and Cat Dog that are more comedic, but also kind of also has a slice of life tone. Like it details the characters' lives, but at the same time they're showing it in a more cartoony, comedic way. And that's what I've noticed a lot with the 90s Nicktoons. It has a mixture of slice of life storylines with more comedic aspects to the characters. Now, let's look at the 2000s Nicktoons. Like, I've noticed there was a lot of Nicktoons in the 2000s that were more action orientated, like Invader Zim, Avatar The Last Airbender, and Danny Phantom. And this was an unusual move for Nickelodeon at the time because I mentioned before, with the 90s Nicktoons, most of them were more like slice of life type of cartoons, while you go to the 2000s and they're more focused on the action and adventure variety. Like you get shows like Avatar The Last Airbender and Danny Phantom that are more action driven, and it was very rare at the time that to have shows like that, since back in the 90s we barely had shows that were like action orientated. You had some shows like you have some Nicktoons that were kind of close to it. Not exactly, but most of them were kind of like slice of life and comedic type of situations. And then you get Nicktoons in the 2000s that are more action driven and more adventure driven. So I think that's the main differences between the 90s Nicktoons and the 2000s Nicktoons, that the 90s Nicktoons were more focused on the slice of life and comedic styles, while the 2000s Nicktoons were more focused on the action and adventure aspect. And I think both eras, portray these kind of different themes like very well. Like I really enjoyed shows in the 90s like Hey Arnold, Angry Beavers, Rugrats, and Doug for being slice of life type of comedies. And then I really enjoyed shows in the 2000s like Danny Phantom, Avatar The Last Airbender, and Invader Zim for being more action driven and adventure driven. And like it really depends on what you expect from Nickelodeon. If you like the action driven and adventure driven storylines, then you can feel free to look at the 2000s Nicktoons. Or if you like the slice of life and the comedic side of cartoons, then look at the 90s Nicktoons. So I think they both eras offer a lot about different varieties about what kind of Nicktoons you would like to watch, and how they affect your viewing experience as a viewer of Nickelodeon. So what do you think about this topic? How do you feel about the Nicktoons of the 90s, and how do you feel about the Nicktoons of the 2000s? And which era was your favorite? Did you like the 90s Nicktoons, or did you like the 2000s Nicktoons the best? Please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter so we can keep you updated on any new videos we post up, and also like our Facebook page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbia's blog of Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.